I have not watched any of the tournament. I did see a clip of the last 20 seconds of that game, and I would quit basketball. If I was on Northern Iowa, I would quit. You up 8 with 20-plus seconds. You up 5 with 10 seconds, I would quit.
We all saw Northern Iowa's epic loss to Texas A&M. That's what LeBron's referring to. If he was a part of that, he would quit basketball.
Wow.
Skip, what do you make of those comments?
Stephen A., I got to tell you, when I first saw these comments, I was astounded by them because they were so out of character for LeBron James. They came across as so harsh, so insensitive, so cold-blooded, because remember, kids from a mid-major called Northern Iowa, a mid-major, not some basketball power, a mid-major suffered the greatest collapse in basketball history, not just college, but pro college, greatest collapse in history. And I thought LeBron, even if he had made a joke about I'd quit basketball and chuckled, but he wasn't chuckling. He just said, I would quit basketball. I waited for him to say, but I do feel for those kids. You know, that's a tough one to swallow. Something like that just to undercut it, just to give them a little bit of a break instead of shaming them like he did. But then I stopped and I sat back and I thought, wow, that's exactly what Michael Jordan would have said while he was playing. He would have uttered a comment because I covered him, and he would utter comments like that, and you'd say, God, that's cold-blooded. He did not care. Younger Kobe would have uttered a comment like that. I would have quit. I'd walk off the court. I'd say, I'll never play again. Obviously, they wouldn't have really quit, but that's how they would have felt, like quitting. So back to the point with which you opened this show. You want LeBron to wear the villain hat again, to embrace being the villain again. I got to tell you, the last couple of weeks, something's going on with LeBron James. We are seeing a shift. Maybe we're seeing a shift into playoff mode here, but a cold-blooded statement like that is saying, yeah, I'm going to embrace the villain role, because that is not typical LeBron James to make a comment like that about something to him as insignificant as Northern Iowa.
I give it to you, man. You pulled off something special here. I usually think I see you coming from a mile away. I didn't see this. I mean, to call him insensitive and disrespectful or whatever, anybody who loves basketball and knows basketball and thinks for 1 second that they can play basketball can't imagine losing a 12-point lead with 44 seconds left, a 10-point lead with 30 seconds left, up with 5 seconds left, and still finding a way to make one turnover after another, after another, after another. And I think that when you listen to LeBron, like you said, MJ and Kobe and others would have said it, the word quit comes into mind because in their mind, it's just impossible to lose under those conditions because you have to have completely panicked, completely melted down. And when that kind of panic sets in to your psyche to the point where you can't pass, you can't dribble, you can't shoot, you can't do anything right, as the moment heats up, as palms get sweaty and behinds get tight, you lose all respect, not just from others, but you lose self-respect. And that's what I think he meant, because that's what Jordan would have meant. That's what Kobe would have meant. And the list goes on and on. When you know how to play this game, nothing but respect. Northern Iowa had a good season. Their coach Jacobson is somebody I like a lot. The reality is that was a complete, unadulterated meltdown. And I did not blame them for sitting there and crying. And I'm quite sure they're wonderful kids. But in the end, understand that that kind of loss will stay with them for the rest of their life. That was a meltdown of epic proportions to the point where you don't even think about the fact that they're college kids.
No, we get it. That was LeBron James, the greatest ambassador for basketball we have in this country right now, going out of his way to shame kids from a mid-major. It was out of character for LeBron to say that and to not even point out what you pointed out on Monday to me, which I already knew, but you were trying to defend the Northern Iowa kids because they lost their inbounder, did they not? The kid who
Right,
inbounds, they lost him for the last minute of the game.
Yes, they did.
So they were playing shorthanded because they had somebody trying to inbound the ball who was not used to that kind of a pressure situation. LeBron gave them no break. He said, man, I would have quit. Well, I'm giving him a compliment here because that's a cold-blooded MJ kind of comment.
And I'm saying to you that when you see something like that, you're not thinking about kids. You're thinking about the game, and you're saying that's not something that happens almost never. High school, prep, AAU, college, pros, you don't lose a 12-point lead with 44 seconds left. It just doesn't happen. It's a shock to the system, to everything you know about basketball. You literally have to invent ways to lose a game like that. That's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point.
No, my point is, why would LeBron James point a finger at Northern Iowa?
Because it's not about Northern Iowa. It's about the circumstances, and that's all. You don't care who it's about. It's about the circumstances.
Okay, I'm telling you, maybe he's wearing the villain hat you want him to wear, because that's a villainous comment.
Maybe he's watching First Take.
Well, I guess I'm everybody I know is a villain, too, because that's all we were talking about. I couldn't believe it.
All right. Speaking of nightmares, that bad man, Aaron Rodgers, he's having bad dreams. I'll tell you why after the break.
A todos se nos quiebra la voz, en todos hay un poco de Dios. Yo soy igual a ti, tú eres igual.
Is presented by Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. And in part by Joseph A. Bank, unparalleled heritage of quality men's attire.
Some might say Aaron Rodgers has had an out-of-this-world career. Well, he appeared on a podcast called You Made It Weird. Rodgers said he saw a UFO in the sky, once describing it as a large orange, yes, Skip, a large orange left-to-right moving object. This is real life, and what's your reaction?
Stephen A., the bad man has some really weird stuff going on occasionally because he can be a really weird dude. So he's on a really weird podcast called You Made It Weird, and he goes into a story that happened to him, he says, back in college, in which he and a fellow quarterback were visiting the fellow quarterback's hometown in New Jersey, and that he and the fellow quarterback and the quarterback's brother saw a UFO streaking across the sky, and they heard the siren going off at a nearby nuclear plant, which signaled to them that it was, in fact, a UFO. And my question is it possible that any of the three of them were in any kind of altered state on that night?
Yeah, that's my question. Was everyone sober?
I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there because I'm not sure about it, and I'm hoping you can explain the bad man to me why he even did the weird podcast.
I'm not going to try to explain it to you because I don't find it to be weird. The fact of the matter is that this is a big, big universe. Earth ain't the only place that exists. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Oh,
really?
You see things too?
You think we're the only creatures on the universe?
I do.
You're the only creatures in the universe?
I absolutely do.
You don't?
That's ignorant.
Have you seen UFOs?
Is this really happening? You believe in aliens and things like that, Stephen A.? And people on other planets?
You do?
Yeah.
Oh,
really?
Excuse me. We sent people to the moon. We sent men on Mars. And
so there's
we can talk about. You think we're the only people that
exist? Find any other people there that I know of?
Right now? You need to go on You Made It Weird.
I said creatures. He didn't say anything about other people. He didn't say anything about other people.
He
said
creatures? Wow.
I don't know.
I believe in angels.
I just don't think we're the only people that exist in the universe.
Really?
I don't think we're the only creatures that exist in the universe.
Are you a fan? Are you a fan of the show The X-Files? Do you know X-Files? Because you would love it.
No, I remember it, but I never watched it.
Okay.
But I love Independence Day. I love Independence Day.
Stephen A. believes in creatures.
Creatures from other planets. That explains it. I got it. You and Aaron, I get you both now. Two peas in a pod.
You just put a smile on my face. Thank you. Goodbye, everyone. Speaking of New York, could Carmelo leave the Big Apple? According to a report from ESPN.com's Ian Begley, Carmelo may waive his no-trade clause if the Knicks don't make a big splash in free agency this summer. However, in an interview with Yahoo Sports' Mark Spears, Carmelo flat out denied he'd leave New York. Quote, "I guess I have all the power. If I really wanted to get out of the situation, I could have waived that no-trade clause. But I've stuck with it, and I'm still sticking with it. I don't know. Maybe my loyalty has come back to bite me in the expletive. As of right now, I am sticking to it." Stephen A., should Carmelo waive it?
Hell yes. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. I'm a native New Yorker. I'm a lifelong Knicks fan. And everybody knows how much I love my Knicks and how I feel about Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony needs to waive his no-trade clause at the end of the season. He needs to facilitate. It doesn't need to be under any conditions. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying just waive your no-trade clause and leave yourself at the mercy of Mr. Novice President himself, Phil Jackson. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if the New York Knicks get on the phone and they can somehow manage to facilitate a deal that will send Carmelo Anthony to Cleveland, the Los Angeles Clippers, the San Antonio Spurs, or the Miami Heat, Carmelo Anthony should waive his no-trade clause and get up out of there. It's just that simple. The New York Knicks are on a fast track to nowhere right now. They don't have any draft picks, any first-round picks this coming June. Phil Jackson did a good job drafting Kristaps Porzingis, getting an underpaid Derek Williams. But, you know, having faith in Jose Calderon, who's been a bust at the point guard spot, and more importantly, thus far showing no capability whatsoever to recruit marquee talent to come to New York. The fact of the matter is Carmelo Anthony has to make a decision. Do you want to win or don't you? Now, I totally supported him doing what he could to get his money because there's a window of opportunity that you have to get that money, all right? And him with his lovely wife, Lala, they're going to make the right business decisions, and they're going to make sure to position him where he's going to be able to capitalize off whatever monetary value he has extending beyond the basketball court. But on the basketball court, you know, he's no LeBron James on or off the court because LeBron James is just an iconic figure and an iconic brand and has managed to position himself to make some money. You're Carmelo Anthony, you got to get the money, but now you got it. And so wherever you get traded, you don't have to give the money back. And if Phil Jackson and them can pull off a trade to get you to a title contender, he needs to do it quick, fast, in a hurry. 13 years in this league, man. The man has been out of the first round twice and has never played in an NBA Finals. The kind of talent that he is, enough's enough. Don't waive the no-trade clause if they get the right deal for you, which I believe he will do. I don't care what the hell he says. The operative word is as of right now. Of course, as of right now. They ain't got nothing to do with this summer. The New York Knicks get the right deal on the table. Carmelo Anthony will waive his no-trade clause, and he will leave.
Okay, so if he does waive and does get traded, do you realize he also has a 15% trade kicker in his contract?
Yes.
So all of a sudden, the next 3 years of salary, which are approximately $24 million, $25 million, and $28 million, you can do 15% of those and add them on top of that. That's outrageous money.
That's right.
Okay, my quick take on this. I really like Carmelo. I like being around him. I like watching him on offense, not on defense, not as a passer, just scoring the basketball. But I got to tell you, I'm really getting sick of this talk. And I don't think it reflects